In this video, I'll share with you 9 fundamental teachings we can learn from the thought of Carl Gustav Jung. Have you ever wondered why certain emotions, memories, or reactions seem to escape your control? There's something within us that operates deeply, yet we're often unaware of it. Do you want to discover how these hidden parts influence every aspect of your life? Have you ever wanted to explore the true meaning of your dreams and understand what they reveal about yourself? If yes, keep watching. This video is for you, and if you haven't already, subscribe to Beyond the Mind. Every new video is a step forward toward deeper self-awareness. 1. Look inside yourself first. Jung once said, "Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakens." While Freud leaned toward a scientific and analytical approach, Jung stood out for his interest in the inner world, symbols, and the deeper meaning of existence. His reflection led him to understand that life isn't just a sequence of external events. It also includes an inner journey worth exploring. According to Jung, real awakening begins when we stop looking outward and start observing what lives inside us. In the frenzy of daily life, we often get lost in others' judgments and social expectations, neglecting our authenticity. Instead of identifying with the persona we show the world, it's essential to embark on a journey of introspection. This internal examination allows us to understand who we truly are, explore our personal myths and belief systems, and define who we want to become, giving clear direction to our lives. If we neglect to listen to our inner voice, we live like in a dream, guided by the will of others. By passively following paths traced by family, friends, or colleagues without ever expressing our individuality, we risk forgetting who we really are. Self-awareness is essential to navigate life with clarity and purpose. 2. Life truly begins at 40. Jung wrote, "Life truly begins at 40. Until then, you're only doing research." Carl Gustav Jung lived a full life, with family stability, financial security, professional success, and international fame. At the beginning of his career, he was Freud's apprentice, but around age 37, he started to distance himself, becoming an independent figure and founding his own school of psychology, known as analytical psychology. The final break with Freud came after the publication of Psychology and the Unconscious, a book marking the beginning of Jung's autonomous path. This meant leaving behind almost all of his friends, abandoning his hospital job, and ending a significant relationship. It was a time of great turmoil until he reached the age of 40. Only then did he solidify as a unique figure, walking his own path and developing his vision of the human psyche. Jung taught that before 40, we often walk trails marked by others, drawing knowledge from experts and mentors, yet fearing to explore less traveled roads. But by the time we reach 40, many realize the fleeting nature of life and the importance of following their inner voice, despite the difficulties. At 40, people often find themselves at a crossroads, having lived roughly half of their life, still with many possibilities ahead. Greater confidence emerges, concern for others' opinions diminishes, and there's more openness to change. Therefore, it's crucial to make the most of the time before 40. Learning from others and finding the field where you can best express yourself. When you reach that milestone, it's time to assert your independence, find your unique voice, and establish strong personal life principles. 3. Analyze your dreams. According to Jung, dreams show the patient's internal reality as it truly is, not as they wish it to be, nor as we imagine it. At first glance, many dreams may seem nonsensical or even absurd. However, Careful analysis can reveal the deepest and most meaningful parts of our psyche. To decode these dream messages, one must overcome a certain inner resistance. Often, we're surprised at how seemingly trivial dreams can actually uncover profound truths. Dreams speak through images and symbols, expressing the fundamental instincts of our being. They act as bridges between the unconscious and inner reality, revealing hidden truths. Dream analysis isn't limited to therapy. Anyone can practice it. To begin, it's useful to write down your dream immediately after waking, keeping a notebook and pen nearby. Later, in a quiet moment, reread the dream and note key words, creating connections with your daily life. For example, a cup of tea in a dream might represent a gift from a friend and suggest unresolved interaction with that person. Once these connections are made, you can proceed to interpret the dream by combining all elements. Dreaming of heading to the kitchen to take a cup of tea, only to be interrupted by a noise that causes fear, could symbolize the need to face internal fears to reconnect with someone in real life. Dreams, in their complexity, offer deep reflections. The more keywords and associations you identify, the deeper and more detailed your interpretation becomes. 4. Integrate your opposites. According to Jung, wholeness doesn't come from cutting away parts of yourself, but from integrating opposites. Jung spent years studying the anima and animus, two psychic forces representing the opposite gender aspect within each of us. He believed that every man contains an unconscious feminine component called the anima, while every woman has an inner masculine part called the animus. This concept goes beyond simple gender identity. It refers to inner parts often ignored, which profoundly influence how we think, feel, and relate to others. Recognizing and accepting these hidden dimensions is essential to avoid inner conflict and develop a more balanced attitude. Integrating anima and animus means allowing both aspects to coexist without denying either. For example, a woman who learns to integrate her animus can develop greater determination and rationality without losing her sensitivity. A man who connects with his anima can become more empathetic and open without ceasing to be strong. Working on these aspects helps improve relationships, deepen self-understanding, and live in harmony with who we truly are. If you've ever felt in conflict with a part of yourself, maybe it's time to look at it with curiosity, not fear. 5. Be aware of deeply rooted beliefs. Jung argued that, although we consider ourselves rational beings, we remain deeply influenced by ancient myths, symbols, and images living in our collective unconscious. These images, rooted in the human psyche since ancient times, continue to shape our fears, desires, and everyday choices. Many superstitions, for instance, stem precisely from this ancestral legacy. Rather than rejecting them as irrational, Jung suggested welcoming, studying, and seeking to understand them. They are not just remnants of the past. They can offer important keys to understanding our present. Think of the fear of darkness or the fear of snakes, common even in cultures where these animals don't exist. These are fears rooted in the collective unconscious, just like those told in myths and ancient stories. The first step toward freedom is not denial, it's awareness. Being aware of inherited fears doesn't mean being dominated by them. It means learning to live with them intelligently. Being rational doesn't mean ignoring the irrational. It means recognizing it, understanding its role, and deciding how to move forward. If you notice behaviors or reactions that don't seem entirely yours, ask yourself, where does this fear come from? Is it something I experienced, or something belonging to a much older story? 6. Learn not to judge. As Jung once said, thinking is difficult. That's why most people judge. How we judge others often reveals more about ourselves than the person we're judging. This mechanism is called projection. Those qualities that irritate us in others are often parts of ourselves we haven't yet accepted. Understanding this allows you to transform judgment into tools for self-knowledge and turn conflicts into opportunities for growth. Being empathetic, suspending judgment before condemnation, is not only an act of compassion, but also of inner maturity. The saying, "Don't judge until you've walked a mile in another's shoes," holds a deep truth. Understanding is the first step toward a more authentic relationship with others. The line between honesty and judgment is thin. Speaking without reflection risks reacting impulsively, based on instinct rather than clarity. Before expressing judgment, it's essential to take time to consider the situation from different perspectives, trying to understand the people before their actions. For example, at work, if a colleague suddenly seems less present or productive, instead of criticizing, ask yourself what might be behind it. Starting a constructive dialogue rather than a rebuke can clarify the situation and strengthen the professional and human relationship. Taking the time to truly understand what's happening around you is one of the smartest attitudes you can cultivate. 7. Avoid excessive pride. Pride, according to Jung, is a form of self-deception. Behind a mask of strength, a hidden vulnerability often hides. We all have an inner voice that occasionally tells us something is wrong, but too often we ignore it, preferring to avoid the effort of introspection. The fear of looking inward hides under social pressures, external duties, and habits that keep us distant from ourselves. Pride, far from being a sign of confidence, is often a defense, a barrier preventing us from living authentically. When it stems from the fear of failure or judgment, it becomes neurotic. Think of how many times we give up pursuing a passion, such as painting or writing, not due to lack of interest, but out of fear of not being good enough, or how long we stay in unfulfilling jobs simply to avoid the uncertainty of change. This kind of pride becomes an obstacle to growth. To truly progress, you must embrace humility. Accept that you don't know everything, that you're not perfect, and that you still have much to learn. Only then can you overcome your fears, stop hiding behind a mask, and begin living authentically. 8. Learn to face reality. As Jung once said, "What you resist persists." The more we try to avoid a problem, the more it tends to return. The human psyche works this way. Ignoring something doesn't make it disappear. It feeds it. Avoiding your fears, traumas, or insecurities doesn't eliminate the issue. It moves it to a hidden corner, where it will eventually knock again. Happiness and mental health don't depend on the absence of problems, but on how we face them. Yet many react with denial, aggression, or remain trapped in emotional states like anxiety, sadness, or anger. These feelings aren't enemies. They're signals, indicators that something hasn't yet been faced. If you keep unresolved emotions or situations you prefer to forget inside you, you risk prolonging pain rather than freeing yourself from it. To overcome an obstacle, you must first recognize it. You must accept it for what it is. Imagine tension at work and a difficult relationship with your boss, while worrying about economic issues like a mortgage. Fear of losing your job might push you to minimize the problem, avoiding discussion with those close to you or confronting the situation directly. The more you avoid confrontation, the bigger the problem grows, and when left unaddressed, it worsens. The first step toward change is acceptance. It doesn't mean surrender. It means taking conscious awareness of what is real, and from there, starting to take the first steps toward a solution. 9. Tell your own story. The last lesson I want to share with you is perhaps the deepest. Tell your own story. Jung said, "The evil in the world comes from people not telling their stories." In his work as a psychotherapist, he realized that many of his patients suffered not only from trauma, but because they had never had the chance to express it, to give it shape through words. During the therapeutic process, repressed desires, hidden fears, and inner conflicts emerged, previously buried in the unconscious. Jung called this journey individuation, an inner voyage toward self-awareness. This path isn't reserved only for those in analysis. It's accessible to everyone. One simple way to begin is to write your personal story. All it takes is paper, a pen, some time, and a quiet space. Or you can talk to someone you trust, a friend, a relative, a mentor, and share what you feel inside. It's not only about what happened, but also how you interpreted it, what thoughts you had, and what dreams and hopes you projected onto it. We are shaped not only by our experiences, but by how we give them meaning. Writing your story allows you to give shape to your personal mythology, that internal narrative that defines and guides you. And when you bring it into the light, you begin to live with greater authenticity. Only through this integration of mind and heart can we fully realize ourselves and discover who we are destined to become. If this video gave you new insights, leave a comment and tell us something you learned today. Your experience might inspire someone else to do the same. And if you feel content like this can help you grow, understand yourself better, and live with greater awareness. Subscribe to Beyond the Mind and hit the bell icon. Every new video is an invitation to look deeper within. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.